Back then, when there were no travel restrictions, no lockdowns, and no community quarantines, we were simply free to travel. And that time, we were off on a day trip from Bangkok to Phuket aboard a Boeing 737 aircraft. What's it like to fly aboard one of Thailand's budget carrier Nok Air? How's the in-flight service? What are the treats? And lastly, how's the weather upon landing in Phuket? Join me and travel blogger Owen as we feature another exciting destination here on Airline Travel and Airports. This is Don Muang International Airport, one of two international airports serving the Thai capital city of Bangkok, with the other one being Suvarnabhumi International Airport. With blogger and travel buddy Owen of OwenTravels, we decided to explore this old yet well-renovated airport as we got here quite early and that check-in counters were still closed. As we got to the second level, it's there where we found plenty of restaurants and food outlets which tried its best to lure us for breakfast. But we just had to visit the observation deck. Don Muang is currently the main hub for Thai Air Asia, Thai Lion Air, and Nok Air, so it's no surprise if we see their planes parked all over the place. After doing some plane spotting, it was time to go back to departures to do our check-in, with budget carrier Nok Air flying us today to one of Thailand's popular destinations, Phuket. With all the smiles and fast service from check-in, we were good to go soon as we were issued our boarding passes, which came in the form of paper receipts. After clearing security check, we were off to our gate, passing by more and more shops and cafes along the way. Familiar franchise restaurants are just everywhere, and there's just so many to choose from. Of course, there's one favorite, which is Subway, and one of my much-loved fast food outlet, McDonald's. But being a collector of coffee mugs, we ended up settling in Starbucks, where we slowed down and chilled for a bit over hot sandwiches and cold macchiato while waiting for our flight. It was close to boarding, and we head towards our assigned gate, passing by wonderful views outside of different Nok Air planes, each recognizable by unique playful colors with bird beak design. From check-in to boarding, it's all smiles from the Nok Air staff. I guess this is how Nok Air became an award-winning low-cost carrier in Thailand for some time. Now let's just see how crew members are inside the cabin. Yup, they're all smiles. That's one trait we noticed since we checked in with this airline. With a very positive vibe, I'm sensing we'll be having a grand time with them in today's flight. Most of Nok Air's fleet are Boeing 737s, with cabins seemingly narrower compared to the A320 aircraft I often fly on. But I really don't mind as it's just gonna be a quick flight and that I'm simply amused by the crew's cheerfulness towards their passengers. Owen's taking the window seat and I'm seated next to Owen, but they said the plane's not gonna be full, so I get to choose my seat. Just as soon as the door closes, I can get to choose my seat now. What's available? Yeah. He's also doing his vlog.
Follow me.
They'll follow OwenTravels. Yes. And so if you want to see the another angle or another side of my vlogs, through his vlog. Okay, we'll give you a tour of what's happening sa galley. Hold on. Since I rarely fly aboard the 737, let me just explore around at the back, beginning with the lavatory. It's a typical cramped toilet space you'll see in small aircraft like this, but it still gives you some privacy nonetheless, especially when you most need it. And at the rear galley, this one still gives a decent space for crew members to work on during short flights. And what's nice to see is that equipment in the galley looks new, especially the heating containers, with 4 of them installed which will warm up meals that will be served later during flight. Other than those, well, it's time to turn back and feature this 737's cabin with a view from where I'm at. With passengers still coming in, I took the time to take a closer look at some parts of the cabin, checking out areas from seats to walls, even the overhead bins. Used to flying the Airbus a lot, being inside this Boeing 737 aircraft somewhat gives a different feel. Meanwhile, as the last few passengers enter the plane, crew members start to prepare for departure. And so does travel blogger Owen, who's now getting busy setting up his gadgets to cover the entire trip for his own travel blog. Our plane finally gets its pushback away from the gate, and crew members are seen walking along the aisle in preparation for their live pre-flight safety briefing. While taxiing, flight attendants begin their safety demo, pointing out important features of this aircraft and relaying instructions to passengers in an event of an emergency. As our flight leaves at dawn, cabin lights are dimmed to orient our eyes in the dark, a safety measure to ensure our eyes are adjusted to the low light from both inside and outside the cabin. Shortly, our plane rolls out along the taxiway. It's my first time to visit Phuket, and I'm just excited to be finally on our way. Fascinating sight of city lights is seen once we were airborne, and all is calm inside a dimly lit cabin as we continue to ascend. And after a little while, seatbelt sign is turned off after reaching a certain altitude, with cabin lights switched on this time to illuminate the entire cabin. Crew members begin putting on their aprons in preparation for service in the main cabin, with the smell of food being heated emanating from the galley. While waiting for meals, I dig into my seat pocket and finding this airline safety card, with instructions in Thai language and in English as well. Yup, most often than not, you'll see an air sickness bag along with a safety card. Next, I find Nok Air's in-flight magazine Jib Jib, and other than it's packed with lots of advertisements, it still features destinations as well as articles about food they recommend you to try. But you know me, I always scan the last few pages to learn about Nok Air and its fleet, and to check the network of routes this airline flies to. As quick as I've explored the contents of my seat pocket, crew members are again seen in the cabin, offering bottled water to every passenger free of charge. Yup, water that comes in small bottles like this are given for free. Anything else like soda, chocolate milk, or juice drinks cost about 60 bahts. Another crew member confirms our pre-ordered meals, checking our boarding passes for identity and as proof of purchase.
What is happening is malipat-lipat ako ng seat. I've been changing kasi there's plenty of seats in the back and I want Owen to be part of the vlog. We're just waiting for our snacks to be served.
Soon after, in-flight meals are handed out to passengers who pre-ordered them online. I had mine placed at one of the tray tables at the back as I was still taking videos, capturing the crew's cheerful and attentive treatment towards us. Not too long and it was time to enjoy our hot meals. While Owen's having stir-fried noodles, I opted for chicken basil and fried egg with rice. It sure sounds tasty, but excited as I am to try out this flavorful Thai meal, I found it quite spicy. Well, that's how most of Thai dishes are. I just had to drink something sweet to wash out the fiery taste. Right after breakfast, we had the option to sleep the remaining time off. However, since this is my first time to fly aboard Nok Air, I kind of feel restless that I simply took videos of how their 737 cabin looks like. It's all peace and quiet, especially in my favorite spot at the back of the cabin. And for this flight, there's just a handful of us passengers on this 189-seat configuration. All is calm and well for some time until we got nearer and nearer our destination. If there's one thing that would spoil the feel of comfort and serenity, it's the worsening weather that started to shake the aircraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now passing through the area of turbulence and descending to Phuket International Airport. Please return to your seat and fasten your seatbelt. Ensure your seat backs are in the upright position with the arm raised down. Stroll retractable open window shades and switch off all electronic devices including in flight mode. Thank you for flying with Nok Air.
In contrast to leaving Bangkok with clear skies, we were now approaching Phuket, which is welcoming us with big puffs of clouds and a turbulent ride. As we continued to descend, all the more our plane gets shaken from side to side, which got some of us worried while we were tossed a bit at times from our seats. After doing their checks, crew members had to return to their stations immediately to strap themselves for safety. For me, how I wish I don't have to use the air sickness bag as I was beginning to feel dizzy. What a way to welcome us in Phuket with this kind of weather and dark clouds.
It is raining.
We were hoping to have like sunny skies and everything, but yeah, it's that's that's the weather. And our flight is bouncing. Well, despite the bumpy ride, we still managed to land safely. It would drizzle from time to time, but I don't think that would stop us with our plans to do plane spotting at Nayang Beach. And before we go, knowing me, I just had to do a little chit-chat with the crew members.
Oh, I like your service. You smile a lot. I like your service. It's my first time to try.
See you next time.
Aren't you scared?
How long? How long will we be here? One day?
Here?
7 days
In Phuket? No, we leave back to Bangkok later. We just take pictures and we come back to Bangkok. But we're flying what? Vietjet? Yeah.
We're gonna do review later on.
You're not scared when like the plane goes like that? Are you used to it?
Used to.
Used to it?
I was the waiter today.
Huh?
The waiter?
The weather?
The waiter today, yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's how crew members are in this airline. Personally, even if Nok Air's a low-cost carrier, I honestly find them impressive. From their aircraft's vibrant design, it sure does reflect the company's personality, with cheerful, polite, and friendly service, not to mention their attentiveness to passengers. As we disembark and make our way to the terminal, we just had to pause and take a look at the aircraft one more time before we start walking along, recalling funny moments and hilarious reactions we had during turbulence. Okay, so we're in Phuket, and we're staying here only for a couple of hours to do plane spotting before we fly back to Bangkok in the afternoon. Thus, we gotta make our way out of the airport quick and find our way to Nayang Beach, located at the end of this airport's runway. To trim down expenses, we decided to walk around this airport's vicinity, which took about 15 to 20 minutes, and using the Waze app as reference for directions. As we got nearer and nearer, the more we were tempted to buy street food offered in the streets, as well as distracted by fancy-looking hotels along the way. And once we got to Nayang Beach, we were refreshed to see the sight of the shoreline. Finally, we got to enjoy the sound of waves and the sea breeze, and had the chance to take photos of the place. But not to forget about the reason we're coming here, we're doing plane spotting. However, with the direction of the wind, we just saw planes taking off, instead of planes flying low while approaching the airport. But one thing's certain, with our visit to Nayang Beach, I'd say I definitely enjoyed my time here. With Owen Alasko, this is Mitch Young. Thank you for watching.